So, what happens when a country's systems just completely give out? Today, we're diving into that exact question by looking at Lebanon, a nation that was pushed to the absolute edge by one crisis after another. But here's the thing, this isn't just a story about failure, it's really about the people who, when everything around them crumbled, simply refused to fall apart with it.
And let's be really clear about this. What started happening in Lebanon back in 2019 wasn't just a string of bad luck. No, it was the complete catastrophic failure of an entire system, political, financial, you name it. But that's only half the picture, right? Because in the exact places where the system broke down, the people started building something new. This is a story about a different kind of strength, one that's really born out of pure necessity.
Okay, so where does a story like this even begin? Well, before that cascade of crises really kicked off, the first major crack appeared right on the streets. It was October 2019. Something had just fundamentally shifted, and the people decided, you know what? We've had enough.
It was called the Thawra, which is the Arabic word for revolution. And this wasn't just some protest in the capital. It was a massive, nationwide movement. We're talking hundreds of thousands of people from every single walk of life, coming together with one single, unified demand, an end to the corruption and the awful economic mismanagement that had been bleeding the country dry for decades.
And this is where you see this really fascinating dynamic play out. On one side, you've got these huge, deep-rooted problems, corruption, stagnation. But the response, it wasn't just chaotic anger, it was organized. It turned into this incredible wave of civic mobilization, all these youth-led initiates, and brand new community support networks. People just started building the alternatives themselves.
But that first crack, that revolution, it was just the beginning. What came next was this relentless, almost cruel series of shocks that hit the country one after the other, creating a level of strain that's, well, it's hard to even put into words.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's relentless. There was literally no time to breathe. Just as the country was starting to grapple with a full-blown financial collapse, boom, the global pandemic hits. And then, right on the heels of that, a disaster that would scar the nation's capital forever.
Let's just stop for a second and really think about what financial collapse means for you, for a regular person. It means the money in your wallet becomes basically worthless overnight. It means hyperinflation makes buying groceries a nightmare. And maybe most cruelly, it means that your life savings, everything you worked for, your retirement, your kid's college fund, it's all just frozen, trapped in the banks, and you can't get to it. So what do you do? How do you possibly survive that? Well, people had to adapt, and they had to do it fast. Mutual aid groups popped up everywhere to share food and medicine. So many people turned to international freelancing just to earn a stable foreign currency. And small businesses, my gosh, they found these incredibly creative ways to pivot and just stay afloat when the entire economic system had left them behind.
And then, right on top of all that, came COVID. For Lebanon, this wasn't just a health crisis. It was what you'd call a crisis multiplier. It was like pouring gasoline on a fire. It took a healthcare system that was already fragile and just shattered it, while all the lockdowns made the economic misery that much worse for millions of people.
And we see that same pattern again, right? In the total absence of a strong state response, the people stepped in to fill that massive void. Volunteer networks provided health support, NGOs ran huge relief efforts, and the incredibly powerful Lebanese diaspora all over the world organized massive aid campaigns to send help back home.
As if things could not possibly get any worse, they did. August 4th, 2020. That's a date now just burned into the collective memory of Lebanon. It was the day a cataclysmic explosion at the port of Beirut ripped right through the heart of the city.
Let that number just sink in for a minute. 300,000 people. In a single instant, their homes were gone or shattered. Their entire lives completely upended by one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in human history. The immediate human cost was just staggering.
And right there, in that moment of absolute chaos, you saw this story in action. Before the government could even figure out what to do, the people of Beirut were already on the streets. With their own brooms and shovels, they formed volunteer cleanup crews. They opened their own homes to strangers as emergency shelters. Youth groups and NGOs started planning the rebuilding efforts right away, handing out aid while official channels were still completely paralyzed.
So after these huge, shocking moments, what happens next? Well, those acute crises gave way to the chronic, day in, day out challenge of just navigating a totally new reality. Because even when the dust settles, the crisis isn't over.
You see, the underlying problems, they never went away. In fact, they got worse. The country has been trapped in this state of complete political paralysis. There's a massive leadership vacuum, so no real reforms can happen. And you have to add on top of that ongoing security tensions and displacement, which all creates this constant, grinding state of uncertainty.
And this is such a crucial point. When a country has no formal leadership, a different kind of leadership emerges to take its place. Civil society, that whole network of NGOs, community groups, and activists, it effectively became a kind of de facto government, providing decentralized solutions for everything from trash collection to social services.
But resilience, it isn't just about surviving. It's also about living. And in this final part, we get to see a different kind of strength emerge. The creative, the life-affirming ways that society keeps finding to innovate and, honestly, even to thrive.
This is what that everyday resilience really looks like on the ground. It's grassroots arts festivals that bring joy back into public spaces. It's teachers coming up with incredible ways to keep kids learning against all odds. It's a surprisingly energetic startup scene that's trying to solve local problems. And maybe most importantly, it's this deepening of community bonds, this powerful realization that, at the end of the day, people can truly rely on each other.
There's a popular proverb that just perfectly captures this entire spirit. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. It speaks to this incredible, powerful capacity for regrowth, for renewal, even from the deepest and darkest of places.
And that leaves us with this one huge, fundamental question. The story of Lebanon is an amazing testament to human ingenuity and solidarity, but it also raises this profound challenge for the future. When a country's own people are forced to become their own safety net, their own government, their own first responders, what then is the role of the state?